Good morning. Good morning. It's a quiet morning here in Florida. As I explore with you the question, what's it going to take? But the title I actually gave is Ninth Wave Cosmic Attention Getters. And I was going to start at 5:33, but Windows Movie Maker was in use by another program, which it wasn't, but a reboot resolved the issue. I wrote, just a little bit before that, many know there is an awakening going on, yet most still sleep. What will be done to get the attention of virtually all humans on the planet? Will it be 3 days of darkness? Mass landing of UFOs, some sort of second coming scenario? What will it take for people to realize that the ground rules have changed and we really are living in a new consciousness, a new heaven, and a new earth? With the movie, the video, The Awakening, that's been making its rounds on YouTube, and all sorts of other videos and messages from channeled entities and whatnot, predictions of certain Mayans that and other people that said there's going to be 3 days of darkness. There's lots of stuff out there, folks. There's wars. There's disclosure of the Vatican, which is getting really close to announcing that we're not alone in the universe. I shared one of those videos from a mainstream news broadcast on my Facebook page yesterday. It could be Obama or some high-up official. Obama would be a nice candidate to do it, of beginning to admit and at least uncover a lot of the things that have been hidden from the people. Certainly the unanimous Supreme Court decision back in June has not lit the fires in a lot of people yet, or at least it's not visible. So do you ever wonder, what's it going to take to make changes that are visible and massive and well known and accepted and everybody knows about it? What's it going to take for the people who do not want things to change to actually change their mind? I ponder questions like this, and I'll be honest with you, I don't have specific answers that are absolute and certain. As I've said other times, it's being created now. The scenario is coming into being now. I don't buy into ancient prophecies of mass destruction and death of billions, even billions of people. If the Georgia Guidestones, where they say the ideal population of the earth is 500 million people, I mean, it would require the removal of 6.5 billion people. That's the Illuminati game plan. I don't think it's the divine game plan, although the fear of it may be part of the divine game plan to help awaken people. Lots of things are used to help awaken people. 9/11, to me, I've said this before, was one of the greatest triggers of mass awakening that made people, for the first time ever on a global scale, start to question what the media is telling us and what the government wants us to know. We began to consider the possibility that maybe some people that hold high offices don't have the best interest of humanity or the planet at heart. And we began to wake up to the possibility that things are not what they appear to be. Humanity began to move out of its naivety. We began to change our mind about how we saw the world. But the masses still didn't believe. The masses still didn't get it. For how many years was I part of the 9/11 truth movement, holding signs on most the 11th of most months, passing out literature and DVDs of good videos exposing potential possibilities of how 9/11 really was carried out and the inconsistencies of the official story. Yet we were booed by a lot of people, ridiculed by others, ignored by most. That was not the trigger. There has to be a trigger that sets the dominoes falling. There is a collapse going on of the financial structure of the world. It is inevitable. It cannot be stopped. It will not be stopped. Is it part of the Illuminati game plan or the divine game plan? Did you ever wonder? Could it be both? Could it be both and still serve the highest good of humanity? There's lots of potentials of what will happen. Now, I read Fred Sterling's channeling of K-I-R-E-A-L, however you pronounce that word, I'm not sure. Karael, or I don't know. Anyway, he talked about the 3 days of darkness, and Drunvalo Melchizedek has talked about the 3 days of darkness. And there have been others, Mayan elders, that said that the way it happened the last time was that there was 3 days of darkness. And Fred Sterling channels the message that it's going to be moving into the photon belt. Well, truthfully, I thought we were in the photon belt a few years back. I mean, I thought that the photon belt had totally encompassed the entire solar system. 3 years ago. I think it was 3, maybe 4. In any case, that didn't bring any changes at that time, so maybe we're not in it yet. Maybe it's still coming, or there's another edge of it, or there's some cosmic fairy dust that's sprinkled on us. Maybe that's what I'd like to look at, the idea of the photon energy bringing the 3 days of darkness. Now, I would think that photon energy would bring light, but I read the article yesterday, as I was admonished by several of my friends to do. And I honestly don't know the scenario, but I do know that there's something big going to happen. I have long considered the mass landing of UFOs to be one of the triggers. And I do know this: crop circles seem to be increasing, and the sightings of UFOs over major cities by multitudes of people is happening all over the place, on every continent. The UFOs are appearing in greater and greater numbers in our skies. They are signaling something to us, I believe. I believe that this is part of us, this is part of our family, that have been living on other planets, in other solar systems, in other star systems, whatever. These are our friends, our family. They are not our enemies. Are there dark forces among them? Well, there's light and dark forces everywhere, are there not? But it has gotten totally out of balance on Earth, and there does need to be more truth brought into the scenario on this planet, politically, religiously, and in every manner. There needs to be more integrity. I posted a video of Dennis Kucinich on Facebook last night. He was speaking at the Hemp Fest in Seattle, Washington, in front of a sign, "Legalize Marijuana." And I said, wouldn't it be nice to have Dennis Kucinich leading this country with Ron Paul? And somebody said, Dennis Kucinich has been one of my heroes. Who's Ron Paul? And someone else said, he's running for president again in 2012. I canvassed for Ron Paul, 2.5 precincts, single-handedly, when he ran for president in 2008, passing out literature in 2.5 precincts on foot. Of course, I drove to the neighborhoods, but then I walked around talking to people, knocking on doors, leaving literature. I did that personally because I believe Ron Paul is a man of integrity. Do I agree with everything Ron Paul says? Do I agree with everything Dennis Kucinich says? No, but I like them both. And Dennis Kucinich was interviewed at the time saying, who would you choose as your running mate if you got the Democratic nomination? And he said, I'd choose Ron Paul. And the reporter was puzzled. Why would you choose Ron Paul? He's a Republican. And Dennis Kucinich said, because the ship of state needs a right wing and a left wing in order to fly properly. And I have great respect for Ron Paul. He's a man of integrity. And they like each other. I believe they genuinely like each other, even though they come from completely different ideological concepts and political party affiliations. They are men that stick by their guns and speak truth. Not as much truth as I'd like sometimes. Not as much truth as I'd like, but they speak truth. As some of you know, as I've mentioned before, I actually voted for, what's her name? Cynthia McKinney in the last election. I won't be voting in the 2012 election. Why? Because I'm an expatriated citizen. I'm not a citizen of the United States of America Corporation. I have relinquished that citizenship. I had the opportunity last night when a policeman pulled me over to exercise my sovereignty. And initially he was going to write me up because of an expired driver's license. And that's why he pulled me over, because he ran my tag and found out that my driver's license had not been renewed. And indeed, it had not. Though I sent in the renewal, the state sent it back to me. And of course, I have the documentation. I have all of my free man papers. And I have a lot of love in my heart. And the policeman finally, after first saying he was going to ticket me, he determined that that might not be such a good idea. And he says, I'm just going to let you drive home. But I do suggest that you renew your license. Of course, I'm not planning on doing that, because I already sent in the renewal and they already sent it back to me. And I already know who I am. And the policeman was, I wanted to give him a hug, but he declined. But what's it going to take to wake up? I mean, I'm awake. At least a lot awake. And a lot of people are. A lot of you that listen every day, you're awake. And your friends are waking up. And lots of people are waking up. But what's it going to take for all the people that aren't awake yet, or don't seem to be? Well, 3 days of darkness would definitely get my attention. And if it was planet-wide, it would get everybody's attention. Landings in the major capitals all around the world would certainly get people's attention, especially if the news media was forced, some way or another, to tell the truth instead of covering up and lying for the government as it's been doing for so long. Could it be Christs are going to all of a sudden appear in the skies? I don't really believe that that's even a possibility. I really don't believe that that's even a possibility. And if it happens, it's probably going to be some faked scenario, not a real scenario. Because that would polarize people. And maybe the mass landings would polarize people. What would break down the polarization, though? Could there be 3 days of darkness? At first I rejected it. But not because it's an absolute. I just didn't feel that was going to be needed. I felt it could be done in a more peaceful way. But 3 days of darkness doesn't have to be cataclysmic. It just has to be darkness. Could it be the shutting down of all the electronics on the planet? Well, I certainly hope that doesn't happen, because that's how we're communicating right now. And that would be a vital thing. And we've been given this internet thing to help awaken. And it's working. It's working. People are waking up exponentially all over the planet, but it's still not the majority. It's still not the masses. So I look at these things and I'm open to all possibilities. All possibilities, because I know that the awakening is unstoppable. I know that the changes that are coming on a massive scale are here now, and they're going to manifest in a greater and greater way. I know that. The exact hows, I don't know that. But I'm open to all possibilities. Namaste. Thank you for listening.